Welcome to another episode of the Base Camp Barn Project. This episode, a big bad windstorm blows our house down. But we'll recover and continue prepping and building for our first wall pour. So come along for the ride as we continue to get back to work. Well, good morning. It's a snow day today. We got about 2 inches overnight, and it's already beginning to melt. This is kind of going to be a warmish day in the mid-30s, and I see a little bit of blue sky poking through finally. So maybe we'll get some sunlight this afternoon, and then tomorrow is supposed to be a beautiful, gorgeous day. And you might notice something really interesting here. Wherever we have insulation, there's still snow. So like where the load-bearing wall is, there's no insulation. And over here where there's going to be a wall, there's no insulation. But wherever we put the insulation, where we put the pipe for the floor heat, is separating the ground from the concrete. So the concrete's colder and it's holding the snow. Wherever the concrete's actually touching ground is warmer, so it's melted everything first. So that's kind of the positive or negative, about having ground insulation. You don't want to put too much down there because you need the heat from the ground. It actually helps in the winter and it helps in the summer, where when you put insulation in, now you really have to put some heat into it in order to get the temperature to change, that extra 10 degrees or something between, earth temperature and ground temp or concrete temperature. Anyway, just something really obvious and really interesting here with insulation or no insulation. I'm gonna blow off some of this snow and feed it to the dog. Who loves playing in the snow. Don't you like playing in the snow, Kenai? Well, I got a surprising amount done this afternoon. I got almost 4 blocks up everywhere. I ran basically out of blocks. They're coming tomorrow. It's supposed to be in the teens in the morning. I got 42 blocks coming. Maybe enough. I'd have to recount once we get a little bit taller. But I got this cut block layer and then one more layer going up basically everywhere, because that's going to be my 10.5 foot level, and that's what we're pouring to. So that's the next pour. Well, it was a little windy last night, as you can see. This is the wind that we expect just about every storm. Blew my house down, so this is about a week's worth of work we just lost. And I think most of the pieces are good. Got a corner over here that's destroyed, and if that's about it. The rest of the pieces, there's a few here and there that are broken. Easy to replace. It's just the work. I don't even know if we had supports on here, if that would have been enough. I just don't know. I suppose that's what we got to do, is build with supports, because you never know when this damn wind comes. That's why I wanted to build a concrete house, and yet here we are, maybe 2/3 of the way done with the blocks, and got to start over. Crazy. Anyway. This is what we're doing. It's supposed to be snowing here in about an hour. I'll see what I can get done. See if I can get anything taken apart or taped up or something. I don't know what we're going to do. Got everything collected from the other side in the dirt so that when it does start raining and snowing, it's not in the mud and I don't have to go out there and get everything all dirty. So everything is here. This is kind of the broken pile. And this is kind of salvageable. This is all the top pieces. I think all the top pieces made it. I've got still pieces put together that are all good. Basically, I think we lost probably 8 or 10 8-footers that I'll have to replace. And just about all the corners are broken. The only one that's savable was that corner there. Clouds are getting lower and it's getting colder, so I expect we're going to get some snow here in a little bit. So I'm about ready to call it a day. Go have an early Advil cocktail and work on something else. Alright, my wagons are ready for work. Good morning. This is the day after Snowmageddon. And that's all we got, just a dusting. And it's already beginning to melt because the sun's kind of coming out a little bit, so it's good. And we didn't even hardly get anything in here, just a little dust over here that's just a little bit slippery still. So I'm trying to let that evaporate and dry before I get down there. But I'm currently rebuilding the big wall with all the blocks that I can salvage. I got a pile here of broken stuff. You know, stuff that's broken here in the middle. We'll be able to use maybe the ends, you know, for like this section or something, or some of those sections. But the whole ones I'm trying to put up intact whole ones. It's going okay. Like this piece here, I'm not really sure. I think it goes right here because of this door. Most all of them, you know, have something broken on them. You know, like this block here. It's got something broken on both sides, so I can't really even use that. So this one here is damn near a whole one, except it's got a broken spot, you know, on this side. This little piece here is broken off, so I can't use that. So we're going to have to take some new ones. We got a delivery first thing this morning, and take some of those, or take some of these ones that I couldn't use earlier in the week that have broken ends on them from when I got them, and I might be able to just cut, you know, like that corner off to replace that one, you know, or something. I can do something with just about everything we got, so it's just a matter of seeing what I need. I've got lumber coming. I don't want to get too much further than this wall today because I want to support it before the day is out. So I got some lumber coming. I don't know. That's what lessons we've learned is if you build something, you better support it because the wind will come and blow it all down again. So the wind around here is pretty harsh. That's kind of one of the reasons why I want a concrete house. Just can't wait for the concrete. We were supposed to pour Thursday, but I ain't gonna be ready, and it's supposed to be single digits. So whatever temperature we got now is probably the warmest of the week. And I think we're in the mid-20s right now. But I'm carrying on. I got enough blocks today that we should be able to finish all of this and be able to have the right block count and everything for a pour. But I got a long ways to go. It'll take the rest of the week to finish this stuff, get it back to where it was, and then start in on these other walls, as I got all the lumber here to make all the door bucks for the big garage doors. But they all got to be blocked correctly, as I found out down here, I was off somewhere just a half an inch or 3/8 of an inch or something, and I had to move 2 windows a little bit that way in order for the blocks to work. I was off by half a block somewhere. So that's part of tying in the tops. Is I got to tie in the tops before we pour, just to make sure, because it's hard to fix afterwards. Once that concrete is in, you ain't changing it. That's where I'm at. I'm gonna try to get most of this cleaned up here in the next day or two. And we've got some sunshine out, so that's really gonna help the temperature. I'm almost too warm with this jacket, so I'm gonna have to layer down. There you go. There's your report for Tuesday morning after Snowmageddon. It's Monday before Christmas. And after the windstorm what we had, I got quite a bit done. And just this morning, my helper Doug and I put up the top bars over our garage doors to kind of give us a finished area so I can start putting the last blocks up for our first pour. But I just found out this morning concrete is going to be closed from Thursday through New Year's, so we won't be able to pour between Christmas and New Year's. And my concrete guys are going to be out until the 10th of January on vacation, as they should. Working hard, those guys. So we've that windstorm has basically put us back a month. And now, because of that, we're too cold to pour anyway. It's been single digits in the morning. As soon as the sun gets high enough, we get into the teens. The afternoons in the 20s. But we haven't seen 30 yet in the last week, and we're not expected to see 30 probably until Christmas. We got another really cold spell coming Thursday, Friday, Saturday, so we won't be able to pour this week. It's just too cold to pour. I won't be ready this week to pour. So now we've got some time, I guess. So I just got to tidy up the blocks to get this last layer completed. And then we got rebars to stick in. We've got foam spraying to fill holes. We've got supports that we got to put inside all of these doors and windows. We've got to square everything up. We've got to align everything. So I don't know. That was going to take about a week to do, and now I've got time. Winter time here in Colorado. It's really tough to get anything done, seems like. So we'll do our best. Here we are at it again. And silly me, I forgot to put rebar in this layer. So I had to take this off and put rebar in. Luckily I didn't have it all the way stacked and screwed in. I've got to put horizontal rebars in every other course all the way around. I forgot to do it in this course here and that one there. These narrow columns, I need to have the ends turned down. So we're turning down the ends about 15, 16 inches just to give these columns a little more support. We've got 4 verticals in each one. Got more lumber coming, so I got to start supporting all of these windows and doors. They all got to be supported. So that's the project for today. Let's finish up the blocks and start the rebars. And since I got the scaffolding, I'm gonna start sticking rebars in. Maybe we need to square it up and pull a string first. So lots of little things to do now. Got all the details are coming in to get this project finished up and ready to pour. But today's project is to secure all the window bucks. This is one of the first ones I did. So this is what we're using as a model. All this stuff in here is going to stay, but I've put a reinforcement here at the bottom to support this plywood. I put in a reinforcement on either side to support the plywood. We put in a big 2x12 scrap piece up there to support the top. And then we're, keeping it from bowing both ways. Because as that concrete comes in, it wants to bow it this way, and it'll want to bow it that way. A couple of days ago, I put in some spray foam, and it's really done a really fantastic job about securing it. You can tell, compared to over here where this moves, this doesn't move a bit. So I'm hoping if I can get the rest of these window openings supported and done like this, and if it's warm enough this afternoon, I'm going to spray foam all of them as much as I can. I just got back from the store and got 8 cans. They're in the camper warming up because they don't like to be used below 70 degrees. So anyway, the last couple cans I didn't get very much yield out of them, but they do a really good job. It seems to really stick. Alright, we got all the walls strung. They're all set in the corners at 4 inches off of the corner end of the wall. And so they're all tight and they're ready. And then all we got to do now is run this scaffold down the walls and adjust all the turnbuckles to get to a 4-inch all the way everywhere, all the way down. That's why there's all these turnbuckles on all these supports. If I ever have to add another support once we've got the walls aligned, I don't need a turnbuckle. I'll just make a long stick and screw it in to a rim board and then put a stake in the ground and hold it. And that might be needed in somewhere these windows are, you know, or maybe on top of one of these doors or something. We'll have to see once we get there. So that's doing the last step. Putting in the last braces is the last step before we pour. But right now, you know, all this tops are all pretty loose over these doors, so we'll have to secure them with boards and foam spray. This is my gap joint. Every wall has a gap joint that goes all the way up to it terminates, because the Nodura blocks are not really to scale. Every wall has a gap on top of a door. That's where I've placed it. And this gap here is only going to be, you know, because this is going to be a sloped wall up to the 16. It's only going to be, so high. I've got one on top of this man door that's roughly 2.5 blocks high. There's going to be one on top of the big tall door that'll only be about 2 blocks high. And over there on the wall, I've got one on top of the sliding door. So every wall has a gap just to make them even where the blocks aren't going to meet. In this particular case, we're probably a 1/4 inch off. I mean, I might be able to squeeze that to make it work. I had to do that down there at that end on top of that door because this middle column was just a little bit off. And for sure, down at those columns, I had to adjust a little bit because they were off just a little bit side to side as you stack them. And so I had to make a 1/4 inch adjustment down there, but I don't think I can make a 1/4 inch adjustment here. This is too close to this wall, which I know this wall is plumb. I'm plumbing up this wall here. It won't affect, it won't affect this. So anyway. And then if you notice, I've got rebars in. This entire wall has rebar stacked in it vertical, so it's ready to go. But I'm not going to put rebar in these walls until I get them square and until I get these door bucks locked down. And then we'll throw rebar in. That's kind of an easy job that I can do if it's wet. But anyway, that's kind of the deal here. That's how we square up a building.
Next episode, as we await our pour date, we'll work on the shed. If you've enjoyed our time together, hit that like button. Any thoughts or ideas? Hey, make a comment below. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.